Welcome back to Heja Framtiden, the Swedish podcast on all things future. My name is Christian von Essen, and I'm recording here from Epicenter in Stockholm in collaboration with Invest Stockholm and Stockholm Impact Week. And today is the Growth Day. And I'm sitting here in a booth with Robert Rubinstein. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for. Oh no, it's still morning. Thanks a lot for inviting me to your podcast, and also for Impact Week from Stockholm. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a big fan of Stockholm. We did our international summit here 3 years in a row.
And by we, you mean a company or an organization called Triple Bottom Line Investing. Tell us why you found the urge to create such an organization 25 years ago, or where was it?
Well, I wasn't publishing. I started the first bicycle magazine in the Netherlands, and that was a big financial and spiritual success. The other two magazines were only spiritual successes, financial disasters. And the last one was the first European management magazine on sustainability. I think we started in 95. And when the investors pulled the plug, I still wanted to create an economy based on well-being. And I figured the only way to do that, I needed to get the business community on board. But they would only respond, 1995, 98, to pain. So I looked at how could I influence their pain threshold, that they would say, the direction we're going now is very bad and very painful. So it was finance, personnel, reputation. I chose finance. I looked at personnel. I taught MBA students for a while, but most of them were afraid of their student loans, so they didn't want to pursue their dream. And I just looked at who had all the money in 98. So the top 100 had direct or indirect control of about 20-25% of all the money. It's changed a bit, but there's still a large at the top. So I figured I only have to convince 100 CIOs, 100 guys. And that's why I started TBLI as a way of educating asset owners, pension funds, insurance companies, family offices, etc., and asset managers, people who manage that money. Why is sustainability relevant to them? And that's how we started. Not the intention of being a conference organizer. Our work was, and it still is, change the financial system so it works for all stakeholders, not just the investor.
So what is it that you do in practice? You host events and you provide information and learnings?
Oh, well, we used to do 40 international summits. We did it in Europe, Asia, Latin America, North America, and we would get big pension funds, insurance companies, fund managers, service providers, thought leaders around together to share experience and learn about the state of the art. When COVID hit, we had to pivot to a completely virtual system. So we did several summits, international summits, virtually online. And now we're just focused on weekly master classes around various themes. And then we have a private group that people can, if they want to become an expert in ESG and impact, they can sign up and get access to everything. But most of our work is capital raising. So we have the world's largest network of ESG and impact investors. We have about 50,000 readers that get the TBLI Weekly, a digital publication. And of that, maybe 20,000 of those are investment allocators. So they decide on investment. And we built a kind of Tinder for impact with a different type of happy ending, a dating engine, and we adapted a dating engine for matching investments with investors. And then we're hired by funds or companies say, hey, I need to raise money for this, or I have the solution for climate here, or agriculture, or transportation, or healthcare, or power. And then we reach out to our network, we make a selection, introduce those people. So we do two things: education through TBLI Conference, that's one company, which is the weekly master classes and lectures and things. And the other is TBLI Consulting, which is more advisory and fundraising.
I can only assume that your work with promoting impact investing and sustainability has become, in a way, easier because more companies realize the business value of doing these things. On the other hand, there are so many more parameters today, so much data, so it must be more difficult in a way to navigate. What are the hurdles for these investors?
The hurdle is that most people don't care. That's the real hurdle. They're not really committed to sustainability. They think it's important because they maybe have investors or pensioners who think it's important, but they're not really committed. They're not making that commitment. So you see, if you look at all of the money that's been recently announced going into climate tech funds, if you look at, TPG, Tech Pacific Group getting, 7.5 billion, Al Gore's fund getting 1.6, 1.8 billion, and dozens getting hundreds of millions. But if you look at where they're not investing in true, deep, quick, efficient climate solutions. They're investing they want to find the next unicorn. They want to find the next 10x exit. They want to hit their target, their carries, all of those things, their bonuses. And so, yes, there's more interest, but it does, and there's the claims of $40-50 trillion going into ESG and impact. Those are nice press releases, announcements, but they're not based on reality, because if that money was really going in, we wouldn't have problems on climate, carbon, transportation, healthcare, education, food security, water. It's not going in there. It's a definitional issue. It's, again, as I said, it's everyone's saying I have a membership card to a fitness club, but I never go. But I'm telling everybody I have that membership card. So that's a frustration. The herd is moving. The actual owner of the asset, not AP1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or Electa. That's not the asset owner. The asset owner is you. You are the asset owner. It's your money. They're just managing and charging you a fee for that. Those asset owners are serious about sustainability, and if they had the opportunity of investing their money with a clear market rate return, and that it had a clear social and environmental added value, why would you be against it? And that's the issue now, is that most of these big institutional investors, there's a lot of talk, but not much check writing.
So what are we lacking? Is it measurement tools, or is it compliance regulations, stuff like that?
You have lots of compliance and regulation. There's very little true commitment from the large asset management companies, the pension funds and all of that, to sustainability. They talk about it's important, yeah. I'm a simple guy. I come from Brooklyn. So I look at, okay, you say you're going to do that. I look where the money's going. And if you look at where the money's going, it's not going into environmental or social restoration. It's not. So it's education, commitment. Most of the financial institutions are not willing to make the commitment because they don't know, they don't understand. They're rather simple. I mean, I once said to the head of Goldman Sachs in the Benelux, I can't prove it, but I have a feeling the investment manager is wrong half the time. You know what he said to me? No, 3/4. So I thought, wow, would I go to a car mechanic, a doctor, a podcaster who 75% of their decisions were wrong, and I'm going to pay that person 4 times what they should be earning, and then most of the time they're wrong. That's the system that exists here. So it's important that MBA students refuse to work for companies that don't align with their values. It's important for asset owners, a true asset owner, pressure to have their money invested in social and environmental restoration, and true impact measurement. And it's important that products reflect their true cost. You have the highest carbon tax in the world. Yet, if I go buy a bicycle, there's 25% sales tax on that. But if I take an airline, there's no sales tax on that. That doesn't make any sense. Why should things that are so clearly environmentally destructive, why should they get a free ride? I know there's an agreement of all the, but you can change that. Products need to reflect their true cost. Talent needs to refuse to work for companies that don't align with their values. People have to follow their heart, and you have to move them. And then things will fall into place. Because the financial sector, I mean, remember, most of them don't have great talent. They think they do. They try to make it complicated. But remember when the financial crisis came, and all of a sudden the financial sector fired hundreds of thousands of people. Do you remember that? Did the financial sector get smaller? No, it got bigger. So that means they didn't do anything. I've never seen such a blatant example of a large group of people who are overpaid and not delivering on things, and yet we seem to put up with it. That needs to stop. And people need to, stand up and vote with their dollars. Don't buy products from people that don't align with your values. You can change this.
You moderated a panel here today talking about measurement of impact. Did you come to any conclusions?
Well, that the measurement system needs to be dramatically improved, but it can be improved. And the financial sector has to make a true commitment. They have to allocate the resources to educate their staff that this is important. And most don't. Most don't. They just, it's like every year the World Economic Forum in January, middle of January, lots of press releases go out. And the last few years, lots of sustainable press releases. So Microsoft puts out a press release a few years ago and saying, we are going to suck out all the CO2 that we ever put out in the atmosphere since we've been around by 2050. Are you calling them in 2050 to check if they achieve that? So what does that press release do? Sounds really good. But what does it mean in reality? We need things to go now, not in 2050. We need money to be shifted to things that restore the environmental social balance. There were people on the panel who were doing that. The solutions are there. There is loads of solutions. But it's, people, the big boys will say, oh, this is too small. We don't do less than 175 million. You only want 50 million. I can't help you, so you don't want to do this. You could if you wanted to. Somebody gave you money to invest in things. You say it's a climate tech fund, but you're not investing in a climate tech fund. You're investing in a machine to suck CO2 out of the air. When regenerative agriculture is the cheapest way of doing it, but it's not sexy, and I'm not going to get 10 eggs. So you need to continue the pressure on the financial sector, move your money out of people that are not aligning with your values, refuse to work for them, buy products, and pressure the politicians to have products reflect their true cost. Solutions are there. It's not that hard. But there's the oil and gas sector have been fighting this. They're the tobacco industry. They've been fighting this and lobbying for years. The billionaires have been pressuring the governments not to tax them, so they can just get richer and richer. The solutions are there.
You mentioned that you were going to set up a MMA cage fight for different measurement tools when it comes to impact.
We've set it up. It's a TBLI Better World Prize because I was always frustrated when we did our TBLI conference. None of the measurement organizations, MSCI, Morningstar, Sustainalytics, whatever, they never wanted to be on a panel together with their competition. They didn't want comparability. So, and I didn't like what the ESG measurement system had become. It's just a death march in the wrong direction, but slower, and they think that's progress. So I got together, because we have such a big network, I asked 8 super geniuses in the ESG measurement, hardcore people, would you be willing to join our panel? And we have Daisy Ray Fixler, who was fired by Deutsche Bank because she refused to sign the document saying that their ESG approach is super kosher. She was fired for that. And we have people from MTR, we have the head of Kaya, we have lots of thought leaders. So you guys come up with questions that each measurement organization has to answer. We'll ask them each to make a 5-minute video presentation of themselves, pre-recorded. We will put that on our virtual platform. People, can watch that. Then we'll load that up to our voting platform. So we have now 40 different companies, measurement framework that will present. There's a choice of 1 to 10, and then there's the logo so you know who you're voting for. And we'll keep that there for maybe 3, 4, 5 months, because it's 40 presentation of 5 minutes, a lot to process. And then we'll reach out to all of the MBA schools in our network, all of our people in there, all of the media people, to get hundreds of thousands of people to vote. And then we'll give the award, but it's a people's choice. I say jokingly an MMA cage fight, a civilized MMA cage fight. But basically, people will have a library of comparability, which they don't have now. I mean, it's not a complex story. You know, we're doing it on no sponsors. I didn't want anything. I just wanted a simple approach that hopefully will lead to a better system. By having that comparability, hopefully, I don't have the resource to make a better measurement system, but I have the resources to mobilize everyone to vote on what's the best one. It is interesting that the largest ESG and measurement and framework people, they have not signed up yet because it's like the Olympics. Best one doesn't always win. And the chance of you losing are pretty good. Very good chance of losing. So that's a horrible thing. If you're being used by, $5 trillion in assets, your measurement, and you didn't make the cut. So I get the politics and the fear of that, but not participating is also a statement.
I usually ask my guests, what is your best tip for making the world a better place in the future?
I think just listening to what your parents told you. Just basically, hey, clean up your mess, flush, wash your hands, be respectful. Yeah, just, do as you would have others do unto you. It's not really that complex. And the rest is just, detail. But it's really, you don't have to do deep analytical research about this. You know if someone is acting, great. All of the fast fashion stuff for you, next gen and Gen Z is great. I can buy stuff every week in a different fashion. But you've created this tsunami of clothes to burn and throw away. So you can change it, if you want to. If you don't want to, that's okay. Go to Burning Man. Go there with 300,000 people or whatever that are all in these used SUVs burning lots of gasoline. Have a big party and thinking you're fixing the world. You're not. It's very simple. Do basic human interaction. Help people. Share. Call back. If somebody actually emails you, write back to them. That would also be a great improvement. I never ask anyone to climb Mount Everest barefoot. I always have a simple ask. And if people can't do that and they can't share, that's cool, but I can't help them. I'm happy to help everybody, but you got to share. I'm bringing you a wheelbarrow of stuff, and you're taking everything out and leaving no crumbs for anyone. So sharing is really important, and generosity, and just be yourself, authentic.
Great, thank you so much, Robert Rubinstein. TBLI.
Sorry, tbligroup.com. Or if you go there, our new website should be up, I think this week or next week, and then you'll learn about the Better World Prize and all the things that we do.
Great. This is Heja Framtiden from Stockholm Impact Week at Epicenter today on Growth Day. And why do you think Stockholm is an interesting place to be when it comes to these topics?
I know that you like this Jantelagen, being humble. But they've always been, very civilized and generous and creating a system that works. You wander around here and you see, I see where taxes are going. There is an infrastructure here that works. If you go in the U.S., nothing functions there. It's all collapsing. Education is based on local property taxes. So you've built a system that takes care of people. And when people vote, whether they're right or left, in general, they're trying to think of how this would benefit the largest group, not just one small, wealthy, political, influential, like only SEB Bank is going to benefit from something. So you always, it was always a balanced society. You just have to be a little bit less humble. You don't have to be so humble, because you've got a lot of great stuff over here. And it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful city.
Great. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you.
Make sure to check out TBLI and Stockholm Impact Week back again 2023. My name is Christian von Essen, hejaframtiden.se for all information about this podcast. Thank you for listening.